So we are learning a bit more now about the 5 people arrested in protests on the campus at NC Central yesterday. One of them we've learned is a history professor, and they face a variety of charges like trespassing and resisting arrest. WRAL's Monica Casey has been covering this story since the protest began, and she reports now on what's next.
NC Central students say they have concerns about the quality of housing here on campus in dorms like these ones. They cite issues including mold, bugs, and flooding, and they think there isn't enough housing here on campus. A 2-hour protest over housing crisscrossing NC Central's campus Wednesday afternoon ended with 5 arrests. The people charged range in age from 18 to 26. Jalen Glasgow and Mariah Flowers are charged with the misdemeanor of resisting a public officer. Flowers' arrest warrant says she opened the door to a school building to let protesters inside. Jose Estrella faces 3 misdemeanors: failure to disperse on command, second-degree trespass, and resisting a public officer. His warrant says he organized the protest. Daniel Atwood is also charged with resisting a public officer. He told me he is an instructor of history at NC Central, and he was there to support his students. Michaela Tinsley faces 2 misdemeanors and 1 felony, assaulting a law enforcement officer. That's a charge that could carry new consequences if this amendment to the budget passes. It says anyone convicted would not be able to receive in-state tuition or scholarships or grants.
I believe it's unconstitutional.
Democratic Senator Greg Meyer, representing Orange County, spoke today opposing that amendment.
And they probably will regret it for the rest of their life. But I don't want that kid to lose their access to college because of that one stupid mistake.
In Durham, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
Thanks to Monica. Now, on this topic, let's take a quick step back for a moment, because while these protests at NC Central might have looked like something we have seen before, they weren't, not exactly. Now, you remember the protests at UNC around this time last year. It was all about the war in Gaza. They were disrupting classes. There were arrests that were made. And you might remember when they replaced the American flag with the Palestinian flag. A couple of months ago on Duke's campus, students protested White House policies on DEI. Earlier today, the protesters were back out on Duke's campus protesting the deportation of international students. Now, if you put all those videos side by side, pieces of them anyway, with the protests with NC Central, you might not see much of a difference. But if you listen, there is one big difference, and it's the message. You see, NC Central students weren't protesting foreign wars or politics. They weren't appealing to the White House or demanding enormous change to culture or the world order. These students have a problem with something very specific and right in front of them: housing. And they want the university to do something about it. NC Central has had problems with its dorms for a long time. WRAL reported on this for years. In 2003, black mold closed 2 dorms for a year, pushing out 500 students. In 2007, the university bought Eagle Landing. Under the previous owners, state inspectors found multiple violations. The university fixed most of those problems, but delayed work on the building's heating and air systems. In 2012, NCCU welcomed a huge freshman class, but there were too many students. Many of the upperclassmen actually had to move into hotels. In 2019, the school made a big move. They announced projects to build 3 new residence halls, enough to add 1,200 new beds and alleviate the housing shortage they were dealing with. Construction wrapped up in 2022, and the students moved in. The university also built a new student center. They were making moves. Last year, NC Central then demolished one of its oldest dormitories, Baines Hall. Like many of the older campus dorms, it was built back in the 60s. The supply and demand problem did crop up again last year when NC Central announced record-breaking growth in enrollment. Now, that said, we got to be fair here and give some context, because there is another side to the coin. You know, those new buildings did help. Right now, NC Central offers more housing per student than the average university does across the UNC system. And we should say many students do report having a great experience there. We found these videos on TikTok. Students giving virtual tours of their dorm rooms, proudly showing off their new digs to their friends and family. But a report in the university's student newspaper found many students have a different experience. They posted photos like these: leaks in Eagleson, flooding in Rush Hall, roaches in Lawson. That report mentioned busted washing machines, showers, and elevators. And university leaders acknowledge there is a problem. Chancellor Kerry Dixon wrote in a statement, "We hear you. We are committed to doing all that is within our resources to improve our housing conditions and inventory." Also, a few days after that student report, the Senate introduced a spending bill that Dixon is trying to get passed, Senate Bill 596. And this would provide $100 million in state funding to address problems on NC Central's campus. HVAC systems, fire safety, and plumbing. $9 million for roof replacements, water damage, and mold prevention. Another $60 million to replace utility infrastructure, things like water and electricity. Right now, that bill is in committee. Look, protesting the big things, the global and political conflicts of our time, that is certainly understandable, of course. The issues are tied up in history and culture, but they're also nuanced and complicated. It's why people feel moved to protest. It's also why the changes often come pretty slowly. That's why I found this NC Central protest so striking. It wasn't complicated. It's about where they go to bed each and every night. And it sounds like the university has heard them and is trying to make some changes. We'll see how it all plays out. Let me know what you think about all of it. Send me an email, dan@WRAL.com. What else should the news be talking about? We love getting your feedback. Tell me what is on your mind, and we'll go in depth.